Okay, on to our final day of farming the Wintersday event.
May the gods protect you.
We have our title, but we're still going for the party title. We have 2,000 points total. We have about 400 right here, and then some inside of the gifts. So we're just gonna farm this. We want to get around 1,000 Wintersday gifts total, so we need about another 500-ish. Still doing good on skill points. You back to start.
You honor me. You honor me.
there's a failed round.
How can I help?
That's looking a little bit better. Much cleaner run.
How can I help? How can I help? They go for Roland here, so he doesn't kill everybody. They are kinds. The Legionnaire dying here really sucks.
can I help?
Nice. Slowly getting there.
I've heard much of you.
Should start using my tonics when I go in town. There's a way in here. Maybe it's the info town. Oh, there we go. 30648. It's Frosty Tonic. Okay. Let's see if this works. There we go. It did work. So now I'll start using those and start getting the party points.
How
Won't have
can
to
I
click
help?
as much later. We pretty much get 2 uses per time we into town, so.
Welcome, friend.
Won't use all of them, but we'll use some of them at least. I forgot to pre-cast these. It's gonna die too quick. Oh, we were fast enough. Oh, it's so much nicer to have that automatically do that.
Welcome, friend. How can I help?
I wonder if... Just look here too. I meant to show this in main window. Oh, we can get to it quicker, but I was gonna see in here if there was a way to turn in the quest automatically, but I'll just keep doing it manually. It's fine. This is probably gonna be a boss looking at this. Oh, never mind. The Legionnaire is getting some good hits in, so.
You honor me. How can I help?
Always like this section of toolbox. I wish they would have the quests in here as well. It's pretty cool to see 97% prophecies done. We're missing 2 outposts to this. Just watching your YouTube videos, saw you on Twitch, here I am. Welcome. Which video were you watching? It'd be funny if it was the Wintersday farming one, because that's what we're doing. Rather using the Legionnaire. A little bit of time waste, but it's fine. Oh, a fresh account start, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna be getting back to that account soon. Once I finish up
Honor me.
farming for this character.
How can I help?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of there is playthroughs, but I think the problem is all of the playthrough content for Guild Wars 1 is like, I don't know, 14 years old probably is most of the YouTube stuff. I enjoyed as an OSRS player. Yep, I am also a OSRS player. I put Guild Wars 1 and OSRS in the same category. Guild Wars 1 is not as popular, of course, but they're both just really good games. Yep, I agree. Something I hope that Steven in 2 weeks take from OSRS is their communication and how they develop features. I really hope we see that change, because so far at least, like I think it's pretty clear they were kind of in a rush to get some of the stuff that they were going to get out when they did, but there was not very much communication on it happening or even what it was. Like, we still don't know the Reforged mode, if that's just going to be a permanent thing in the game, or if they're going to roll the changes over to the main game, or like what they're doing with it. We've not heard from them at all. Obviously, keep in mind it's Christmas, so like I understand that, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping we see, you know, come January 1st or whatever, and everybody's back to work. Yeah, community involvement and updates. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. You don't need anything more than that. Yep, yeah, I've been a little hesitant to play on the new playthrough account as well, because I'm like, well, do I make a new character in Reforged mode now and play that, or do I just keep at it with my existing one? But yeah, again, until we get news from them, we're not going to know what to do, so I'm hoping we get some kind of wiki posts or, you know, announcement, or maybe they do like the thing they did with Loranity, where they go in and talk about what they're going to be doing. I hope we get something at least. Like, I think we can all understand they've been pretty, like, hesitant to talk about things because they don't want to commit to anything, but we don't need them to commit to anything except communication. That's really all we want to see, is, you know, them saying, okay, we're going to communicate what's happening with you. We're not going to promise any features. We're not going to promise any content or anything, but this is what our plan is, and we will let you know how it goes going forward. They dropped a new campaign. They make so much money. Oh yeah, no, I think that I don't know if we're quite in the realm of new campaign yet, but I think that we're definitely in the realm of bonus mission packs being a very, very strong contender of something that could happen. I think it's also pretty clear that with the Reforged mode, they're wanting to go back and revisit all the old campaigns, so I think more than likely what we'll see is they'll do that. That'll be the main focus, is using Reforged mode to make changes, including balance changes as well, I think, and then working those into the main game eventually. But yeah, until then, I think it's possible maybe we could see some cosmetics. We already know they're going to be adding the new mini pets from the Extra Life donation thing, so we already know they're doing that. So that's going to be some kind of new content on, you know, how you get those. Oh, I'm gonna die. Run away! Oh my god. Quit focusing me. Okay, there we go. Yeah, but if we got an Iron Man mode, I'd be really psyched about it. And keep in mind, that's despite me playing on this character where I am an Iron Man, right? I've not done any trading. This is a character with, you know, it's just a fully solo character, no heroes, no henchmen. I think if they do an Iron Man mode, it's not going to be solo. It's going to be like Iron Man with heroes, basically. But yeah, I still think that that would be a very cool mode too for them to add. There's a little bit of stuff they have to do. The main thing that they would have to do is figure out like all of the different player interactions, because there's a lot that you wouldn't think exist that exist. Um, I've had multiple accounts. I've done OSRS challenge accounts, and I have a main account as well.
Welcome, friend. I've heard much of you.
Yeah, I've done like did the Bronze Man mode thing when that came out. I've done like a region locked account. I've done the tile based account. Things ever calm down a bit, I'll probably honestly do a recorded challenge account. I need to figure out what I'm going to do for it, but I want to do something new with sailing because I've not really played a whole lot of sailing yet. It'd be nice to do like some kind of sailing related challenge account. Made a new warrior on hardcore LDOA and died at level 14. Oof. Oh man, you gotta stop alt F4ing. That's how you die. Just hit M and click the teleport. Oh my god, you've already rerolled and you're already level 14 again. That's wild. That is something else I did, which I haven't really talked about yet. I do have another ranger with Doom's Covenant enabled, and it's a solo ranger, and I got it to the 3rd mission in Ascalon, so not doing LDOA, but doing like a solo ranger again with Doom's Covenant on. I actually have the footage of it recorded. I just kind of played it off stream and was like, oh, I wonder how far I can actually get on a solo ranger now that I've played ranger so long for this solo GWAM. And like you'll see, like if I do slash deaths, I've died so many times. Did you find the thingy to consume the tonics? I did. It doesn't work for the It doesn't work for these frosty tonics. You can't use these outside of the outpost.
Welcome, friend.
Oh yeah, no, like, I don't even want to look at my OG character. Keep in mind, my OG account, I played it pretty, like, intensely for about 10 years. So I was playing pretty much every day for 10 years. I have like 20,000 hours on that account, and the deaths are, as you can imagine, for somebody who started this game when 13, they're pretty high. But yeah, no, Lino, so I did figure out the Warren Krita thing that lets you spam tonics, but it doesn't work on these frosty tonics. It only works on the ones from the gifts, so it ended up not being as useful. It did save me some time, but I ended up spending, completely forgot to talk about this, I spent like 2 hours just clicking tonics with bleach on my other screen, so I just aged. I only have 4,000 hours. 4,000 is still pretty good. Keep in mind, I was playing every day for 10 years, and that was 20,000 hours, so. But we did figure out, I just set up the its hotkey. So in Toolbox, there's a thing you can do in a hotkey where you trigger the hotkey when you enter an outpost. So we did that, so we're using 2 every time we go and do this quest. Or keep in mind, we're still not going to be using them faster than we get them, because you get 5 per quest. So, but it should help a little bit. Always like DOA SCs and Ergos SCs. Yep, yeah, no, I used to speed clear way back then. I'm not done the speed clear in a very long time though. It's something I want to get back into, but more than likely I think with the time I have, I'll probably more so spend my time speed clearing, but it won't actually be speed clearing on this ranger, so I want to figure out how to do Fissure of Woe and figure out how to do Underworld fully solo with all the quests, and I think that's going to be a fun challenge to do. Same with Ergos and DOA and everything. The plan is to figure all that out on this character. Also, I can't get my text mod to work now for my explorers. I haven't logged in though, so it doesn't show up on my map now. I had it working 2 years ago when I last played. Yeah, no, I use Guild Wars Launcher now, so I'd highly recommend it. I think you can put text mod files into Guild Wars Launcher and it will launch them as well. So maybe look into that. I've never really tried it though. I'm not doing cartography yet, so I have about 50% of each of the cartographies, but I've not done any of this with the map. No, so Guild Wars Launcher is a thing that people are using. Let me just find the website for it real quick. But basically, it helps you manage multiple Guild Wars accounts. It's what I use, so I can handle the many accounts I have. I have like 10 or 12 Guild Wars accounts.
Friend.
But yeah, I think it also lets you, like, you can put toolbox in. You can load toolbox in when you launch it. You can also load, I think, the text mod files. But yeah, definitely look into that. It's very useful. I had to use something. I was juggling all of my accounts in a password manager, and it was just pain anytime I wanted to switch between. I've never tried Toolbox either. Is it safe? Yeah, Toolbox is fully safe, so it's actually sanctioned by ArenaNet. You're allowed to use it, as long as you use the official Toolbox from their website. So you can't use old versions. The old versions are not allowed. There were some features essentially in the old versions that the ArenaNet devs worked with the Toolbox team to get removed, to then, you know, basically give it the green light to say, oh, this is okay to use. So as long as you're using the new version, at least for the moment, keep in mind this could change. They could decide to, you know, say, oh, nobody can use this anymore, but for the moment, it's basically been sanctioned by ArenaNet. They're okay with it. Here's one very sus thing about LDOA. HC, you need to play arena when leveling. I mean, technically you don't need to. You can go in for like a split second, and then if you log out of your character, you can skip that. But I've already seen people who have gone into arena at level 20 with LDOA in the hardcore status, and they've killed other people who were like level 5 or 6 or whatever with their hardcore status still enabled, and I was like, wow, that's kind of bad manners. You guys are doing that, but it is what it is, I guess. Also, thank you for the follow.
I've heard much
Yeah,
of you.
that's really bad manners of people to be killing people in the arena. They probably should make it to where that arena doesn't count as a death. Honestly, all PvP deaths I don't think should count as
You
deaths.
honor me.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do something like that. Killed a poor ranger there last time. Oof. Rip his ranger. No, I mean, it is what it is, right? Somebody runs up to you. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, for this game, I think personally PvP deaths do not count towards your hardcore title because, like, you don't want to have to make a PvP character to go PvP on if you're building this cool PvE main account character with hardcore and stuff. It's just kind of like, well, you don't really want to have to switch characters to PvP necessarily. Like, what if you want to wear your obsidian armor that you got on your hardcore character to go PvP in? Like, it seems a bit silly to have that count as a death when you die in PvP. But again, it's still like an early stage release, so they may change that. I'm not counting on it though. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I'm excited though. By the way, Reforge mode to me, even if it ends up being a thing where they keep Reforge mode in and don't port the changes over to the main game like after the fact, I still think it's very exciting. And something like Tomb of Primeval Kings, for example, is something that it's been my #1 thing for them to fix forever. Basically, a long time ago, Tomb of Primeval Kings used to be a farm spot. You used to be able to go in there and farm ectos, and they nerfed it at one point, and it's pretty much, for the most part now, is not a effective farm for anything. It's not really good for anything, so I would love to see them kind of revive its drops. Yeah, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's not really stood the test of time. That they basically, you used to be able to solo farm ectos in there, and they nerfed it because they wanted people to go to Underworld and Foe, and people were still farming Tomb of Primeval Kings because it's just a quick farm. Like when you load up, you're like at the enemies and stuff. So they nerfed it, but I would like to see them revive it somewhat. Like they don't need to make it best in slot farming, but like just making a reason to go do it would be great. I heard Renblade 3 is bugged. How's the Renblade bugged? It's kind of a random thing to happen. The only bugs that I've heard of that are still happening are if you have an existing account title and you're playing in Reforged mode and Doom's Covenant, then you can basically get glitched out to where it shows you not having Doom's Covenant on your titles. It's the only bug that I'm aware of that's like actually kind of devastating for some people. Do you know how many devs are over to Guild Wars 1? Well, we don't know the exact number, but it's more than likely 4 or 5. So we know the size of 2 Weeks, which is the company that they have working on Guild Wars 1, and that's 4 devs. And then obviously Steven CW has been working on Guild Wars 1 forever now, so that's 5. There is already talked that there is more than that already technically, because it's not necessarily devs per se, but it's people who work at ArenaNet. They've had their marketing team, their sales team, their QA team, basically a bunch of random people across the whole team have touched Guild Wars 1 since the release of Reforged, and we know that for a fact. So yeah, you can't really tell the full number, but 5 devs is still very cool. They can make some content with that, and I think it's clear from them releasing an outpost, they 100% are able to, you know, get these mapping tools together and get it working. Once they fully get up to speed with the tool chain, like I can imagine we're gonna get a lot of cool content. Yeah, I hope so. And if 2 Weeks Dev is ever watching, and if they want to hire a developer to work on Guild Wars 1, I'm your guy. Now, being honest, I would do volunteer work as well if that was an option to dedicate developer time to working on the game. I would do it that way too. But yeah, there's nothing like that yet. No community-driven stuff. It's just kind of them all working on it in a silo right now. it would not be hard for them to make money. There's some really low-hanging fruit they can do to make money that pretty much everybody I know that plays this game would want. One is this. So, the current Zune storage is limited to this many tabs. Most people with old accounts have this maxed out, and I think that a very quick way for them to make money is to increase the platinum count. Very easy thing for them to fix to increase this. Yeah, you'll see this is my solo account. I have every dye I've ever gotten in here. I have my material storage is all maxed out, and even when the materials themselves aren't maxed, but they can increase the count of these as well. And people would just buy these. Like, this would be free money for them, and they could release this very easily, I think. So this is something I think that is very likely we will see. They'll mess with one of these numbers. At least the platinum, I think, would make sense. Having a way to increase the platinum would be a very good quality of life for the game. But
How can I help?
yeah, so they could do that. This is another thing that kind of like a little bit scummy if they end up doing this, sort of. But the Game of the Year edition that came with the weapons, the slash bonus weapons,
How can I help?
you could use. You can't get those anymore now. So they basically removed a way to get them. It used to come with the Game of the Year edition, but now there's no way to get them aside from having an old key. You could put those in the store, and that could be an option. Personally, I'm hoping one of the reasons they didn't do that is they're going to take those weapons and move them into some kind of new content, so make them drops for the new content. High scores, speedrunning, yep. There's so many things that they could do, you know, that are pretty simple to set up. Yeah, a stash tab like QE where you could stack runes in it or something would be crazy. It gets a little more along the line of like really new features, right? So I don't think that they are going to do anything like that, just because it would kind of be like not Guild Wars at that point, you know? They're probably going to want to keep the core systems, I think, is my point. So, but who knows? Maybe we'll see. Maybe they consider that like quality of life enough. But that would be very cool. I think that would be awesome if they did something like that. Yep. Yeah, no, all the new dungeons and stuff, the access to them and everything, like, Eye of the North was really hype, and it was kind of, when you think about it versus the campaigns, it was smaller scale, so it really wasn't as large as a regular expansion in terms of the amount of content. On the other hand, people will keep them, and the merchants will have 0. Yeah. Everything was hard mode vanquishing, that was fun. Yep. Yeah, no, that's something that's also another free win. Right now, obviously, hard mode is the hardest thing in the game, but there really, in my opinion, is nothing stopping them from making another checkbox and calling it legendary mode. And then just upping all the numbers by 20%. Like, there's nothing stopping them from doing it, I think that's one of the things we're very likely to see. The one cool thing I will mention, though, about hard mode is it did change the AI. So it would be nice to see if we did get a legendary mode, they add in additional smart AI. But yeah, I think even just making a legendary mode and making it a number tweak would be such a quick win. It would just be free. Yep. They can add it would add titles to the game, you know, more reasons to come back and play the existing content. That's the kind of things I think they should be focused on at first. Like, new content is fun, don't get me wrong. I would love to see Utopia. I would love to see the Guild Wars Beyond for Nightfall, which is, I think, another obvious thing that they could do. But I think that, you know, for a team full of mostly devs and working with an older tool chain, not necessarily a bunch of access to art, I think it would make a lot of sense for them to do stuff like that. Titles are probably the #1 content thing that they could do, because there's so many different titles that they could already add to the game. Why is there no Polymorph title, for example? Like, why do we not have a Polymorph title? Speaking of that, what? There's like 20 polymorph pieces that have not been released to players. So these polymorph pieces exist in the game files, and they exist. They're basically used by the enemies. So the enemies use those polymorph pieces with their abilities and everything. Why not just release those as, you know, things the players can get, and then put new titles around polymorph? That'd be a great reason to buy Eye of the North for the people who don't own it. And it goes along with their monetization. Collection log would be very cool. You know, like, it could be very simple too, like just get a Chaos Axe, get a Fell Blade, like that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, it just has to be like, oh, on your character, get this drop and pick it up. Doesn't have to be a Rec 9, doesn't have to be anything special, just any of these drops. Eternal Blade could show up in there, and that would be like, you know, one of those things where nobody has an Eternal Blade. Well, speaking of all of that, though, something I would love to see them do at this point, I really would like them to delete the anti-farming code. We already all know it exists. We know that there is anti-farming code in place for you to farm one specific thing over and over. They really need to get rid of it. There's no real reason to have it anymore. Thank you, Pandolas, for the follow. Yeah, so essentially there's code in place. If you farm the same thing over and over, the same exact mobs over and over, your drops that you get slowly get nerfed over time. And it's basically been proven at this point. There's no data on exactly how much the drops go down, but yeah, essentially it prevents you from doing something like, I couldn't farm Tomb of Primeval Kings over and over and over right now, if that's what I wanted to do, because eventually you will stop getting drops, and it's just not a good experience. I don't know why this NPC's range is way smaller than the rest of them. Come on. But yeah, getting rid of that anti-farming code I think would be a very good quality of life, and it would give you reasons to go back and farm certain things, like the trolls outside of Drockner's Forge. They actually have a decent loot table, but because they added in that anti-farming code, there's no reason to farm them now, because you might as well just go farm other stuff. Yeah, that's a really OG farm. Like, that was like the OG farm.
Welcome, friend.
Yeah, there were others. Gates of Crater, I think, is the earliest farm I can think of, like the actual earliest farm. If you're not talking about, you know, farming the bosses and pre-searing. Yeah, maybe Lodestone Farm. That might be a contender. Yeah, back when 55 Monk was a thing. Speaking of, my daily reminder for them to, in Reforge mode or in the main game, unnerf the 55 Monk. Shadow form still exists in the game. Well, it's not so much that it's nerfed. Like, 55 Monk still works, and all the variants, like 330 and 110 Monk and all that, it all still works. But the problem is they nerfed Spellbreaker, and Spellbreaker's downside is way worse than Shadow Forms in every way possible. Especially for a 55 Monk. But yeah, they nerfed Spellbreaker forever ago, and then never unnerfed it after they got Shadow Form in a good place, and now Shadow Form is just in every way better than using a 55 Monk, than using Spellbreaker. it's still useful in some niche situations. Like, obviously, if you need smiting prayers as your damage, Monk is still probably the best. The real problem with it is Divine Favor is a really horrible primary attribute, especially for farming. So, even when, you know, you consider making a smiting build or something where you have the damage versus undead, it's still better to play it on an elementalist because energy storage is better than smiting, or sorry, divine favor. Wasn't there a COF run with smiting or something too? Yeah, I mean, there still are a few smiting builds. They do exist still, but yeah, they're so super niche now compared to what it used to be before. You used to be able to run a 55 monk and kind of farm almost anything, and now you have to be a shadow form ranger or assassin to do it.
Welcome, friend.
Doing pretty good on the party points. Oh, don't get me wrong, the game is already kind of back. There has been a lot of people playing it. Like, on the Reforged launch, there was 5,000 people playing the game just on Steam, and this is, you know, one of those games where most people are not playing on Steam, so. It was like 15 districts in Pre-Searing Ascalon when it first came back. I think there's still like 7 in Pre-Searing. A lot of people are going for hardcore LDOA right now. There's 5 in Ascalon crew right now. Yep. Yeah, it depends on the time of day too. And obviously Christmas time has affected the player numbers a little bit too. I think there's not as many people playing right this second because we're still kind of in Christmas holiday. But yeah, no, the game's been busy. I played, like on Reforged release, I played through all of Prophecies without, you know, taking hero teams and hench teams. I was playing with just people. And I think, like, we did have to take, like, a healer, like, hero or henchman on our teams when we were doing that, but most of the people I've seen have been enjoying themselves. I know there's been some haters on Reddit, but outside of the haters that are always on Reddit, it's mostly been people enjoying themselves. A lot of people just playing the game. There's been a lot of Guild Wars 2 players who never got back to playing this. Like, they played through all of Guild Wars 2, but never, you know, never came back and played Guild Wars 1. Lots of those types of people have been trying to play. Yeah, the builds in this game are bar none. Like the build system and how the professions work and everything, it's the best system there is, in my opinion. I understand it creates like a balance hell for internet to handle all the skills. Keep in mind too, like right now I'm not showing off the good part of the build system, but yeah, like you can see too, like the inspiration of this and how it ended up in multiple games. Like Path of Exile, devs even talked about their systems, even in the PoE 2, you know, were kind of inspired from games like Guild Wars 1. So, like a lot of modern games kind of take after this kind of style now. But nothing has ever hit as hard as the dual profession system. Yeah, it's so fun to make new builds. I got into a trap of reading PBX and lost interest, but now I'm just chilling making my own stuff. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I recommend people, if you've played this game before, you're a veteran, kind of looking for a new way to play, try a solo challenge like I'm doing on this character. It will force you to make new builds because the existing builds that are on PvX Wiki do not work for solo. But yeah, if you like just take it back a step, even with playing with heroes, don't look at PvX Wiki, just kind of make your own builds. Just kind of go with the flow, do something you want to do instead of, you know, just following a template. That's where all the fun in this game is. The content itself, there's nothing real, like, too difficult. Anybody who's even mildly good at games can beat most of the content in this game. But yeah, no, it's the journey that you want to do. So welcome and Fallen Light. Yeah, like this Healers 1 build is one of the best solo builds for normal mode. But then there's also this, which I've not really tested in hard mode yet. But this is going to be the structure of what some of my hard mode builds are going to look like, using Archer Signet. I would never have used this skill ever before, especially not in team play, but running Poison Tip with Hunter Shot and then Signet of Infection for disease spread. This is such a strong combo, especially when you're trying to solo things. It's how I did the prereqs to do this quest.
How can I help?
Was using that build. Because you have to fight 9 waves of Char, and there's a Siege Devourer as well.
I've heard much of you.
Do you like the idea of trying not to look up builds other than just memory? Yep, yeah, I definitely would recommend it. If you're playing duo with your girlfriend too, you could just try playing duos as well. So the game is pretty tough fully solo, but if you know you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, one of you goes healer, the other one of you focuses on damage and stuff, you can duo the game too. So that's another option you could do. Or maybe you do like you 2 plus 2 heroes, for example. You know, you take 2 healers with you. That's another way you could do it. There's lots of different, you know, ways to play the game. Make it more fun. I should have stayed back. I've caught too much aggro and I'm going to die. Started doing a duo playthrough with my friend. It's been so much fun. Yeah, no, a duo playthrough is something I want to do, but it's always finding the time to do that on top of all the other things. This solo ranger GWAM already kind of consumes all the time I have when I play Guild Wars, just because there's so much to do. I'm dead here. There's no way. Oh wow, I actually am gonna live here because that guy got snow-cone. But anyways, yeah, this character takes up all my time. I'm only 2 of 30 titles, I've beat all the campaigns except for Nightfall, and I have 2 missions left there. Oh, this is actually just a loss. We're gonna teleport. But yeah, it's hard to start up a duo with
May the gods
timing
protect you.
with another person. There are people I could do it with, and you know we've talked about doing duos before, but getting that going alongside of something like this is tough. I was kind of waiting to see what they did with Reforged a bit more. Pretty much gonna see, you know, over the next month what they do with Reforged, because that might be something I do, is maybe I'll duo with someone, but in Reforged mode, they start making a lot of changes there. Yeah, setting aside character slots, and yeah, you know, everybody's adults and completely understand. People have kids, people have jobs, and there's time zones to consider as well. A lot. One of the kind of jokes in the solo community, a lot of the players are French. There's also other Europeans, there's Americans, there's people all over that are playing the game. Mixing time schedules with people across time zone is difficult as well, so. But yeah, all my challenge accounts, they actually get their own account, so that's part of why I use Guild Wars Launcher. Is I try to keep each challenge to its own account. Yep. It opens up, you know, ways for you to change the rules too. Like the solo challenge, I can use the storage because no other character on this account, you know, is accessing the storage, so. Oh, the Legionnaire died. I'm gonna die. Oh, we still have Helga. We should be okay, I think. Want to do a fresh start, so you bought 2 slots. Figured I'd make a Mesmer and Mercenary. Yep. It's a good way to do it. Yeah, and the fresh start account that I did, like that's the new Steam account, and that wasn't possible before. But that's something I wanted to do because I have an old Guild Wars 2 account that I did play through a bunch on, like the original Guild Wars 2 account before they did Steam. But my main Guild Wars 2 account that I play on is through Steam, so I wanted to get Hollow Monuments for that eventually. That was one of my goals. We might be done so. Yeah, we're done.
I've heard much of you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was let down by Guild Wars 2. I actually really enjoyed it when it first came out, too. Especially World v World. When it first came out was one of my favorite things. And still to this day, World v World is one of my favorite things. But, yeah, it's just not Guild Wars 1 at the end of the day for me. You don't get a cast bar, you can't see the skills things are using. The mobs don't use player skills. World v World went through many years, like 10 years of no updates, and then they released alliances, and that didn't really change anything for the better from what I've seen so far. But there's also a lot of good content in there too. Like the new push PvP mode was a lot of fun. Played some of that. But yeah, the combat system is just fundamentally different to this game, and I just enjoy this game some more. Which is why I play it more. I do like the action combat. I do find that is refreshing and different from, you know, Guild Wars enough to play it. But yeah, no, wow, I'm just getting targeted so much right now. Yeah, the no dual professions and the lack of, you know, having the skills that are being used matter It builds in Guild Wars 2 are a lot more. Okay, well, we're just restarting. This is just not going well. But yeah, builds in Guild Wars 2 are a lot more cookie cutter. There's not really a whole lot of room for interpretation compared to this game.
You honor me.
Even the stat system is different. Like, there really isn't a whole lot of stats in this game, right? You just kind of have HP, energy, armor versus certain things, and that's it. Your damage is all in the skills that you actually bring. It's not, you know, baked into your gear, minus weapons. You know, if you're using a melee weapon, it changes the amount of melee damage you do. But yeah, about 7 o'clock, we're approaching dinner. Just wanted to do a small stream today, just to kind of go over a little bit more of this farming,
How can I help?
show a little account update. Like I said, we're very close to the party animal title. Should be able to get this fairly soon. What I should do real quick, let's just open these gifts. See what we get. Get an idea if we're going to have enough of the tonics. The tonics are random chance, so. Same with the snowman summoners. Because once we get the party title, I'm not really bothered about the drunkard and sweet tooth titles because we're going to be using all of those consumables only after, like, while we're doing the vanquishing stuff. Okay, so this should be 200 something points. Just spam everyone around us with snowmen. There we go. And these ones we can use if we go to the War and Credit area, so that's another 64 points, I think. How many are these? 2 each? These are 2 each, so we combine these. We're not quite gonna have enough yet. I'm gonna do some more off-stream farming, and probably what I'll do is just leave the last point, getting the final party point, and consuming it for the next stream. So, yeah. Thanks for joining in today, everybody. Thanks for all the chatting. It's been nice to have people to chat with. Let's see who's playing Guild Wars and streaming. Not sure who's streaming today. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna be back to the separate account soon, so building up the second account. I'm gonna be working on that some more once the holiday period is ended. Not recognizing any names. It looks like this person's doing Underworld like low man. They're only doing it with 3 people, so let's raid them. Yeah. Thanks for watching today, everybody. I'll catch you later.